We all love traveling by motorcycle because it's immersive. You hear, smell, and feel the environment more intimately than you ever will in a car, but at the same time, when you're crossing continents, you still want your creature comforts. And there are plenty of touring choices on two wheels, from adventure bikes to baggers to sport tours of various kinds to just regular motorcycles. You can tour on anything. However, when it comes to long-distance touring and luxury, maybe even two up, the full dresser is the motorcycle of choice. This is a motorcycle usually based on a bagger, but with a taller windshield, a full trunk, and weather protection for the legs. And many manufacturers build these, but only two models sell really well in this category, and they are the Honda Goldwing and the Harley Davidson Street Glide Ultra. I recently got a chance to spend a week with the new for 2025 Ultra and put well over 1,000 kilometers on it, and I'll go over all of the details of that test in this video. Is this thing worth $30,750 US or 38,300 Canadian dollars? Stay tuned. And as always, if you're enjoying the content, please consider subscribing to the channel, liking the video, and sharing it with friends. So the Street Glide Ultra is basically a street glide with some extra goodies tacked on to make it into the ultimate tour. Check out my review of the current Street Glide in the top right corner. The goodies include a taller windshield, lowers to protect your legs from the elements, heated grips, a touring saddle, an upgraded shock with a preload adjustment knob, passenger floorboards, saddlebag guards, and the trunk with a backrest for the passenger and a luggage rack on top. The drivetrain is entirely the same with the same 117 cubic inch engine, an engine I like by the way because it manages to produce good power and tons of torque while still retaining a relaxed character. Now ready to ride, this bike weighs 866 pounds or 393 kilograms. So despite the fact that the engine makes pretty healthy power, 105 horsepower and a stompin' 130 pound-feet of torque, the Ultra does not feel as quick as the lighter Street Glide. Still, for such a big bike, it's plenty fast out of the box, and can be made a lot more powerful with various modifications. Twist and go passes on a 2-lane are no problem, and it'll get up over 100 miles per hour quickly. Strangely, the standard Street Glide is speed limited to 170 kilometers per hour, which is about 106 miles per hour, but the Ultra sails past that to 180 or 112 miles per hour. I have no idea why this is. I always assume that the limiter kicked in to prevent some wobble at extremely high speeds, but don't understand why Harley did not give the same limiter to a heavier version of essentially the same bike. As with all Milwaukee 8s, the engine sounds great and can sound even better with other exhaust systems. Like all new Harley baggers, the Ultra has the latest electronics with rider modes, sport, road, and rain, as well as one customizable option. The traction control and ABS are lean sensitive and controlled by a 6-axis IMU that could save your butt in a tense situation. Of course, the bike has cruise control and a slipper clutch for smooth downshifts. The stereo is decent, though even with the taller windshield at highway speeds is drowned out by wind noise. The bike has the Harley nav, which isn't as good as the one from Google Maps and which worked alright until my final ride on the bike. When I was returning the press bike, the nav froze and would not reset even after the motorcycle was turned off. I personally would have preferred to use Google Maps through Apple CarPlay, which the Ultra has, but was unable to access it as it is only available when you sync your headset to the bike. My headset crapped out last year and I haven't replaced it yet, so no Apple CarPlay for me. I don't know why you can't just plug your phone in and run Apple CarPlay on the screen the way I do on my F-150 truck. As it was, despite having a huge screen on a nav-equipped motorcycle, I found myself having to mount my phone on a RAM mount and using it for navigation. On the plus side, Harley does provide a handy cubby in the fairing that will fit your phone and wallet, and is equipped with a USB charger. Handling is good considering you're riding an 866-pound motorcycle. Though it is heavier steering than a Street Glide, the Street Glide Ultra can still hustle through the corners at a decent pace and hold a solid line in a bend. It does better in long sweepers than the tighter stuff, but that is to be expected given how big it is. It takes a lot for this much mass to change direction. I just finished reviewing the Fat Boy, which is about 68 pounds lighter than the Ultra, yet the Ultra still steers lighter than the Fat Boy, probably due to its lighter wheels and narrower rear tire. The axial mounted brakes functioned well and never gave me an issue, though for a bike this big, maybe radial mounted ones would be preferable. The weight does start to show during slower parking lot maneuvers, as this motorcycle is a lot more top heavy than, say, a Goldwing. The engine is taller here and the tank sits high, unlike the Goldwings, which is located under the seat. And this means that it takes more muscle to control this motorcycle at slow speeds. However, the Street Glide geometry is well sorted. Harley has been producing this bike for ages, and this motorcycle is extremely nimble in parking lot maneuvers when ridden by an experienced rider who knows how to maintain momentum. There is a reason why police departments who require their motorcycle cops to have exquisite slow speed handling skills use Street Glides. Comfort is good with an open and roomy riding position, perfect for me at 6 feet or 182 centimeters tall. The tall windscreen kept the wind off my helmet while still allowing me to see over the top of it, although the occasional bug still splattered on my helmet windshield. The lowers do a good job of deflecting the wind off your legs while also providing extra storage space. There are 2 wind deflectors under the fairing which can be opened or closed, and you don't realize what a difference they make until one is broken, as it was on my press bike. The wind blast on my right leg on the broken side was significantly greater than on my left. The floorboards are roomy and give me plenty of options for moving my feet around, while my hands fell naturally onto the bars, which were positioned comfortably low and close. Once again, I'll state that for me, the Street Glide riding position is more comfortable than the Road Glide one. Motorcycle seats are a very personal thing, but out of the Street Glide Ultra, and CVO Street Glide, I like the standard Street Glide seat most. The Ultra seat, while better padded than the standard bike, left me more cramped to the front than the deeper scooped standard Street Glide seat. As for the CVO Street Glide seat, despite the fact that it is the most expensive of the 3 and looks the most stylish, I didn't like it at all for long distance trips, and neither do most riders I've spoken to. Long distance trips are definitely possible with a 6-gallon or 22.7 liter gas tank, which gives this big bike comfortably over 400 kilometers or 250 miles of range. Passenger accommodations are good on the Ultra, though there are no rear mounted speakers for the passenger. The passenger floorboards are a welcome upgrade from the standard Street Glide's pegs. Seat height in the US is listed at 26.9 inches laden with a rider. However, in Canada it is 725 millimeters, which translates to 28.5 inches with no rider on board. That is by no means tall, but this is also a wide bike, so shorter riders might want to swap out seats for something lower. The suspension on the Street Glide is a bone of contention with many riders. This motorcycle costs $30,750 US and $38,300 Canadian dollars, and that's not including the dealer fees and taxes, so the fact that the fork is standard and non-adjustable and the rear shock is adjustable for preload only led many riders to the conclusion that Harley cheaped out on the suspension. The Goldwing Tour models, which are less expensive than the Ultra, have electrically adjustable suspension settings for rider, rider and luggage, rider and passenger, and rider, passenger and luggage. And let me tell you, changing those settings electrically is quite convenient. Yes, the Harley suspension is just fine and the bike handles well despite not having upside down forks. Those are just covers which give you the illusion of much fatter forks. But for these prices, one expects more. Likewise with the windshield, competitors from Honda, BMW, and Indian all include electrically adjustable windshields which give you your cake and eat it too. With these bikes you can look cool on the boulevard and get more air on a hot day, while also getting good high-speed weather coverage with the press of a button. Why Harley did not include this amenity on their baggers, despite all their competitors having it, is a mystery to me. Overall, the new Ultra is what it is and will probably continue to outsell other dressers. It has a great motor, the latest safety electronics, sounds and feels good, has the best paint and finishes in the business, and looks better than any other bike in the class. And it's a Harley, which for some riders makes it their only choice. It is also quite comfortable and has large bags and a trunk that will fit 2 full-face helmets plus other odds and ends. Oh, and it's infinitely customizable with Harley and every aftermarket company rushing to make accessories for it. However, it is not perfect. As I mentioned before, it's expensive with less expensive options offering more features for your money, specifically in the electric windshield and electrically adjustable suspension departments. And the nav malfunctioned while Apple CarPlay was hard to get going. By the way, on the latest Goldwing, Honda has scrapped the native nav and offers Apple and Android map functionality only. They see which way the wind is blowing, and Google Maps is pretty much better than any other system. Harley should just as well admit that, scrap the built-in nav and make Apple CarPlay easier to use. As well, the Street Glide is slower than the BMW K1600 GTL, offers less features than the Goldwing, and is way more expensive than the Kawasaki Vulcan Voyager 1700. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but here goes, it has no reverse gear. I know, why not just get a car then? But I did have this thing at my cabin, rode it on dirt, and turned it around on a tight gravel path. And man, backing up a nearly 900-pound motorcycle on rough terrain, sometimes uphill, made me yearn for Honda's cool reverse gear. Hey, I'm not a small guy, but I'm also no strongman competitor. Sometimes you have to say the hell with tradition and embrace practicality. However, here's the thing about Harley. Despite all of these drawbacks, if I was looking for a dresser, the Street Glide Ultra would still be one of two choices I would go for. The other one would be the Goldwing Tour, which I reviewed a few years ago and which hasn't changed much since then. Stay tuned for a comprehensive comparison of these two best-selling dressers on the channel soon. The Harley has to be in the running because of its looks, sound, presence, extensive dealership network and aftermarket support, and quite frankly, better resale value. Yes, it's more expensive, but you get more back when you sell it. So where do you stand on this question? If you had to do an iron butt ride tomorrow, that's ride 1,000 miles or 1,600 kilometers in 24 hours, what bike are you taking and why? Please share your thoughts in the comments below, ride safe, check out some of these other videos you might enjoy, and may the spokes be with you.